in Egypt is the Chinese industrial city, otherwise known as Tida, Egypt. It's a gated community with tens of factories, parks, hotel and residential units. The Chinese industrial city provides the proper infrastructure for Chinese companies that want to invest in Egypt.
We help them to set up the business here and help them to expand the business. We provide a full package service from A to Z, including the marketing study. They will enjoy a lot of benefits, such as the zero tax, zero customs. Even there is an exemption for the VAT. According to the new investment law, the law number 72, the companies who make the business here will enjoy the deduction for the income tax.
Tida's first phase, already fully operational, is on a 1.34 square kilometers area out of a planned 10 square kilometers.
According to my plan, we will have no less than 120 enterprises to be settled in the 6 kilometer, with the total employment will be no less than 25,000 employees. With the total investment for TEDA only will be more than $230 million, but the investment
Types 2 motorbikes components. It's on a unique location to serve the Belt and Road Initiative.
According to the Belt and Road Initiative, according to the Chinese economic structure, there is some industry need to go to outside, go to global, even go to Africa. So Egypt have a very important location, and our area located in the Suez Canal area also is a very important area and have a lot of benefits to attract the customers to come here to make investment.
Once in full force, the Belt and Road Initiative is expected to attract billions of dollars of investments for Egyptians. Yas Hakim for CGTN, Cairo.
6 years on, what is the state of the Belt and Road? And how is the progress?
Where are the challenges? Who is building, connecting, and benefiting?
Our global correspondents bring you personal insights, live business reports,
interviews with the major players, investigation and analysis.
For comprehensive coverage of the Belt and Road Forum, stay tuned to CGTN.
In Benin, parliamentary elections are just 4 days away. However, there is a worrying trend. Opposition parties are not taking part in the campaigns, citing tough rules that govern registration of political parties. The laws were passed by Parliament early this year. Here's Richard Cyril Nta with more to that story.
It is campaign season unlike before here in Benin. There is little color and flair since not many opposition political parties are taking part. Before, as many as 20 different political parties would be battling it out for various seats. Benin's parliament early this year passed laws that opposition parties view as prohibitive.
There are campaigns taking place on the ground, yet you don't even feel the fever. It's really sad.
Since the introduction of multi-party politics in 1991, Benin has risen to become a powerhouse in the region in matters democracy. However, opposition leaders say these laws make it hard to register and operate a political party.
I don't think it's fair. Only 2 parties are taking part in the elections. It's not interesting.
Today we risk sweeping all these achievements away because of laws that we voted for. We voted for these laws, so we can still vote to reverse them.
CGTN.
A few days to the World Malaria Day, Malawi is set to pioneer a groundbreaking malaria vaccine, which has taken decades to develop. The process is set to be launched in the capital, Lilongwe, before being taken to the grassroots. The same will then be launched in Kenya and Ghana next week. Over 120,000 children aged 2 years and below will benefit from this exercise. The drug that is called Mosquirix was developed by British drug manufacturer GlaxoSmithKline in partnership with Path Malaria Vaccine Initiative. It has passed the various scientific tests, including trials on over 15,000 people in 7 countries. Malaria remains Africa's top killer, with children below 10 being the most vulnerable. In Uganda, a woman who was she is also pleading with him to return home to Uganda. Lily Atongas, abducted when she was just 12 years. Here is CGTN's Daniel Arap Moy.
To the Lord's Resistance Army top commander Joseph Kony, Lily Atong bore the self-proclaimed mystic 5 children. But surprisingly, she still feels a closeness to a man who kept her hostage for nearly a decade.
The truth is that I loved Joseph Kony very much because he took good care of me. He did not do anything wrong to me, and that's why I produced 5 children with him.
According to Lily Atong, the bond between her and Joseph Kony is not about to be broken because of the children they share. Joseph Kony is believed to have murdered tens of thousands of people, abducted at least 30,000 children to work as sex slaves or soldiers, and forced more than 1.5 million people to flee their homes into IDP camps.
Lily Atong, wife to Uganda's most wanted rebel leader Joseph Kony, does not believe that her husband committed war crimes and crimes against humanity.
During my stay with Kony, I never saw him murder anybody apart from the time when his relationship with one of his top commanders, Vincent Oti, broke down. That's when he got annoyed and ordered his soldiers to shoot him dead. But I never saw Joseph Kony killing any other person. Kony himself says he will return, but nobody will force him to return. He also says he cannot allow the ICC to interrogate him because he never forced himself to become a rebel, but conditions did.
Just like Atong, Achan was abducted when she was only 10. She is now 27 years old and looking after 2 children of Dominic Ongwen. She also misses her husband and father to her children. But Achan may not see her husband anytime soon, since he is in jail at The Hague, charged with 70 counts of war crimes and crimes against humanity at the International Criminal Court.
He could have committed atrocities, but he had no choice because he was under instructions from his superiors.
Night with their husbands. Daniel Arap Moy, CGTN, Gulu, Northern Uganda.
The news continues on Africa Live. Let's now go over.
South Korean tech giant Samsung shelves launch party of its revolutionary fold smartphone.
Africa is the nexus of enterprise, and global business will tell you why it matters.
$545 billion a year. If you take 10%
on CGTN.
Business in Africa, from the sound of an African bell on a stock market floor. The least. From Morocco to South Africa, we talk to the deal makers and actors who fuel its engines of growth. Only on CGTN.
Africa Live. Find your voice.
Samsung Electronics is recalling all its Galaxy Fold samples distributed to reviewers to investigate reports of broken screens. The move comes a day after the South Korean tech giant announced that it would delay the release of its $2,000 flagship Galaxy Fold phone. Last week, a handful of technology journalists reported bricks, bulges, as well as blinking screens after just a day's use. So far, Samsung has claimed that the issues could be the result of impact on exposed areas of the hinges. The latest postponement does not hurt the firm's balance sheet, however, it damages its efforts to showcase itself as an innovative first mover. Tanzania aims to generate 6 times its current power capacity by 2025 through investment in thermal and renewable energy. The East African country has said it plans to export surplus electricity to energy-starved nations in Eastern and Southern Africa once it has boosted its generation capacity. It currently boasts reserves of over 57 trillion cubic feet of natural gas, however, faces periodic power shortages. Last year, the government awarded a tender to a joint venture of Egyptian companies and Arab contractors to build a 3 billion hydroelectric plant at Stigler's Gorge, which is expected to produce about 2,100 megawatts upon its completion in 3 years' time. Here in Kenya, coffee farmers are set to pocket 80% of gross earnings from sales of the cash crop, while their cooperative societies, millers and marketers receive the remaining 20% following planned reforms in the sector. The changes have been presented to the country's parliament for approval. It recently announced the issuance of around $30 million of a cherry advance revolving fund to coffee farmers with an interest of 3% per annum. The coffee industry contributes about $197 million to the Kenyan economy annually. Algerian authorities have arrested 5 billionaires as part of an anti-corruption investigation. The detained businessmen are among the wealthiest individuals in the country and have close ties to former President Abdelaziz Bouteflika. The latest arrests follow last week's announcement from the army chief that members of the ruling elite would be prosecuted for corruption. An Algerian court has already summoned former Prime Minister Ahmadou Yahya and current Finance Minister Mohamed Lukal with the first bean-to-bar company in South Africa to produce chocolate made from cocoa sourced directly from African farmers. It collaborates with cocoa farmers in Tanzania. While most of the world's cocoa is grown in Africa, almost none of it is processed there. CGTN's Julie Share reports.
Antonino Alegre's search to find the perfect chocolate for his pastries 10 years ago led him to the heart of Tanzania.
Find our own way because we're completely far away from Europe and far away from the cocoa trade. So we spent about a year and a half, almost 2 years of researching and finding the right people that could help us getting in touch with the farmers.
Africoa has not compromised on quality. Its chocolate is made from the finest cocoa beans, which are imported directly from farmers in Tanzania.
Cocoa producers supply one of the world's most sought-after commodities, but make very little money from it.
Our goal was to remove as many intermediate people as possible and pay the farmer the best price as possible. We have managed to change the life slightly of 60 families or 60 farmers' family and growing, where we pay them directly the full price and we'll pay someone that will be sitting in Europe to make just a trade.
In just 3 years, this little chocolate factory has grown to produce a ton of chocolate a day.
When you think about chocolate and you think about Africa, you have to think about Africa and that. We have to convince not just the consumer, the people that buy the chocolate, we need to convince the buyers from those confidence.
Africoa is already scooping up accolades for its semi-dark chocolate, and it hopes to someday earn the title for the best chocolate bar in Africa. Julie Shah, CGTN, Cape Town, South Africa.
Sub-Saharan Africa's hotels and hospitality sector is set to see major projects in the coming year after Europe's biggest hotels group, Accor Hotels and Qatar firm Qatar Hospitality, announced plans to set up a $1 billion investment fund in the region. The fund will target greenfield projects, brownfield projects and conversions of existing hotels through acquisitions. Qatar Hospitality and Accor Hotels will contribute up to $350 million and $150 million respectively over the next 5 to 7 years. Additional financing capacity will be reached through leverage and core investments. Accor Hotels has recently been on an M&A spree and plans to implement over 20 projects on the continent in 2019.
So it's a fund that's been set up to generate $1 billion for investment across sub-Saharan Africa for a core. Primarily focusing on mid-scale and eco, possibly into the premium brands in key destinations. I think it's something that has not been done before amongst any of the big international brands to generate such a fund. We're currently in the process of registering the organization, setting up offices in Johannesburg, which is obviously quite exciting. The fund's been very well received within the investment market already, and it's at its infancy. We are just starting, but we can already see that there is excellent opportunities.
The Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank's Board of Governors has approved the membership applications of 4 more countries. The The new members include Cote d'Ivoire, Guinea, Tunisia and Uruguay. The announcement has brought AIIB's membership to 97, up from the 57 initial participants 3 years ago. The new countries will officially join the lender once they've completed the required domestic process and deposited their first capital installment to the bank. The bank's vice president, Sir Danny Alexander, says the move reflects the commitment of its members to multilateral cooperation. The robotic age has struck fear in many who worry about superior intelligence and job losses. But in California, researchers are showcasing their latest robots, which are specially designed to help human beings. CGTN's McNew has the details.
At TechCrunch's annual Robotics and AI event, Boston Dynamics revealed its production version of spot packing pallets. The company is targeting hospitality and elderly.
What we intend to say is, as in some robots, that you have to do a double take to make sure they're actually a robot.